Hello, this is Sarah from Fruling's Gabbin Microfarm, and I'm going to talk to you briefly today about Angora rabbit colors. So these are purebred French Angoras that I have here. That's what we breed here at Fruling's Gabbin Rabbitry. But all Angoras go by the same color names. The difference between Angora colors and other breeds' colors are that, for example, Holland Lops have oranges, whereas in Angora colors they would be called a fawn. So Dandelion here would technically be an orange in a Holland Lop color, but it shows up a little different in Angora because their wool is long, and the longer their hair gets, the less color goes through it. So as it gets longer, it will look lighter and lighter. So she would technically be an orange, but in Angora colors we call her a fawn. She can also be known as an orange fawn, which would distinguish her as having brown eyes. She had a kit this spring that was a cream fawn, which was a diluted form of the orange fawn. So Dandelion carries the dilute gene, which is recessive. So she can produce dense colors, like this black tort doe she has here. And she can also produce the diluted colors. So hopefully you can see her color really well. Basically, she is an agouti, which covers quite a few different colors. That's just the gene that gives her the white circles around her eyes, around her ears, around her nostrils, and she also has a white underbelly and under her tail. It's very pretty. And this here is one of her does that she had this spring. She is 12 weeks old. This is Blackberry, for anyone who's been following our blog. So Blackberry is a black tortoiseshell. They're usually known as just tortoiseshells, but I like to distinguish her as a black tortoiseshell because we have so many different tortoiseshell colors here. So basically what makes the tortoiseshell is you see her black mask up here on her face. It's called a mask in tortoiseshells because it covers most of her nose and up to her forehead, just about, covers her mouth, and her ears are black. The tortoiseshell comes in, it's this kind of dark brown color here on the top of her head and the top of her back. So once you get into her side, it turns a much more black color. It doesn't look black, again, because she's an Angora rabbit. So she has black skin, black feet. Will you turn over so I can see? You see her wool turns much more gray down here as opposed to the brown up on top. So her back is the tortoiseshell color, the brown, and then this gray wool is actually black. But as I said before, the longer the wool gets, the less you'll see that color. So if you see her little feet there, her feet are black. Moving on, we also have a chocolate tortoiseshell up here. This is 7 of 9. He's really starting to get his coat in. He's 5 weeks older than Blackberry, so he has a little longer coat. If you can see, he has the brown feet, which is the chocolate, and he has the chocolate mask with the tortoiseshell, the lighter brown on his forehead. And then you can see it start at the nape of his neck, the tortoiseshell color. And then with the chocolate torts, you can't tell as much once their wool really comes in, the difference between the tortoiseshell on their back and the chocolate on their sides, but it's there. So there's 7. He's looking really good. I'm planning on keeping him, I think, through spring breeding. I will breed him with both Blackberry and Dandelion down here. That should give me about 75% colored rabbits in both litters and 25% ruby-eyed whites. So I'm trying to decrease my amount of ruby-eyed white rabbits just because they're less called for. So we'll see how that works out for me. And then my other breeding pair here, I have Clementine, which is 7 of 9's dam, or mother, and Thistle, who is a ruby-eyed white, who is just about all the kits that we had in the spring, sire or father. So Thistle is a ruby-eyed white. In French Angoras, there's also blue-eyed whites that are an accepted color. I can't tell you, it's his eyes closed, but he is a ruby-eyed white. Excuse me. Basically, a ruby-eyed white is an albino. And what that means is that he is not really a white rabbit. He's some other magical color underneath that white coat. But you can't tell because he has that albino gene that hides the colors. So if you could imagine, and not actually do, but just imagine that you dip a colored rabbit, it could be any color, black. Imagine you dip a black rabbit into white paint. You no longer can see what colors underneath that, you just see it as white. It's kind of like a mystery package. So Thistle's our mystery here. Through his litters, I have figured out that he is probably a chocolate-based color because he has only produced chocolate-based offspring with another chocolate. And that is a recessive gene, so that tells me a lot. He has to have at least one chocolate gene in order to produce only chocolate colors. But I think it's far more likely that he is actually a chocolate color. I also know that he has a dilute gene, which means it takes ordinary colors like black and turns it into blue, or takes chocolate and turns it into lilac. Because in Clementine's litter this spring, he had a lilac tort, and then when I bred him with Dandelion this past spring, he had a blue tort and a cream fawn. So cream fawn is just like Dandelion, but a little lighter, a little cleaner color, not so much gray, and it also has blue-gray eyes. That's the telltale sign of a diluted gene in a rabbit, is if they have the blue-gray eyes. Usually they will have brown eyes otherwise. So Thistle's my wild card. Mystery rabbit. Other colors that come in, other colors that French Angoras come in are, we've had blue torts, lilac torts, cream fawns, chocolate torts, and ruby-eyed whites. But they go as far as seal, which is kind of like a dark brown with gold tipping, or they'll have self-blue, and self-blue just means that it's a solid blue. You can have self-lilacs, self-chocolates. There's other interesting colors like the pearls. Pearl is a color specific to Angoras. Basically, it's a colored head and feet with almost white to white wool. So their whole body will be just about white, and they could even have like a gray coat with a solid black head and solid black feet. So the pearls are really interesting. They're smoke pearls. Thistle's sire, in other words, Thistle's father, is a smoke pearl. I think it's his father or his mother. So, I mean, he carries all kinds of different genes that I haven't been able to find yet. Basically, when you have an albino rabbit or a ruby-eyed white, they can pass down anything. Even a pedigree can give you a good idea, but it will never truly tell you what color that rabbit is until they have some kits to reveal their secrets. This is another kit of Thistle and Clementines, and hopefully he's going home with somebody on Monday. We'll see. In French Angoras there are also brokens, and those are very interesting. I'm sure you've seen those before. They're mostly white with a little color. So if you check out our website, I'll post a whole list of all the colors that French Angoras come in at www.fmicrofarm.com.